Hello and aloha for my friend. Today's 22nd of November, time is about 11 o'clock. So the last night that I made that video was, I think, 21st, just for the record. My name is Abbas Temori. I'm elder of Baha'u'llah, his envoy on the earth to fix certain things. Last night I spoke to you about the human psyche and a principle of alignment, which means basically our body and soul has to be aligned. More like a computer that cannot have many megabytes power and C drives and everything, but then it has MS-DOS for the operation system. And I explained to you that today it has to be Baha'i Faith, the divine window of God, an operating system, a guideline, that we don't waste a lot of our time and energy to understand it. We ultimately will understand what Baha'u'llah says, except we end up paying a lot of huge prices. For example, when this faith started in 1844, later on Baha'i Faith reveals that the right of the man and women are equal. We have equal privileges, equal right. But people didn't accept it, obviously. So much passed. By now we know that he was right. He said to use a second language besides your mother language. Now we're adapting English mostly all over the world. So his principles and his laws are not dictatorial. They're foreseeable facts that a huge mind like him knows. That in the pathway of life, personal and social, these hurdles are in the way. He's like a person in the helicopter in a satellite who will tell us, like a GPS, that what's awaiting us. But we choose to ignore it because we say, who cares, he was just a guy. And we don't want to sit down and talk about it, that what kind of a guy has this much knowledge? What kind of a guy at the level of royalty that he was, leaves all that and accepts to go all his life in jail and banishment to tell us the truth? What kind of a guy is he that 20,000 people dies for him? What kind of a guy is he that his principles every day we are learning that he's right. Read the Baha'i Faith, even the simple survey, and see in the course of time, whether in the West or the East, how much we have come to understand it and we have to adopt it or we would die. For example, at the time he comes, he says that the Muslims, they would not believe in bank interest. Any interest, according to Islam, is forbidden. You can't lend money to somebody and charge him interest. Not in Islam. Baha'i Faith said no, bank interest is allowed. At that time they would totally vehemently fight with this idea. Today all the Muslim countries, even Saudi Arabia, have adopted it because there's no way out of it, you see. So let's go back to the topic that I told you, that this is the window we have to have in our personal life and our social life. But today I'm going to talk to you about, so we have the windows, we have to have some antivirus on these windows. We have to know what that is, or else our system gets corrupted. Even though we're Baha'is, even though we're good, we still can get it. So this defense system that is in the windows of Baha'u'llah, in the revelation of Baha'u'llah, it's within the windows itself. If you study the writing of Baha'u'llah and act upon it, you have installed the antivirus. You're not going to get depressed. A lot of things that a psyche of man could suffer, it will be prevented. For most part, depending on how strong we're acting upon it. Action alone is not enough. We have to understand it. You see, in the Baha'i Faith, there's two things. Baha'u'llah says, first you have to understand me, which means his revelation, and then have to act upon it. It says these two are two folds. One is not accepted without the others. So, our situation is more like a person, let's say, I'm in Canada, and my laptop on my computer, I have Windows 10. I don't have it, but let's say I have Windows 10 or Vista or whatever newly they call it, clouds or whatnot. But how much of us, really, including myself, know about the Windows? We just know certain features of it. We don't know it much. Every time I have to call my son to ask him what to do here, what to do there, what to do there, I get virus attacks, whatnot, and open up the Microsoft Words. There's lots of things I don't know. So it matters that we understand Baha'i Faith and we get nutrition from it to become strong. So what is the antivirus? We have to study it and try to understanding and put it to use, to see it. The writing of God and Baha'u'llah has guarantees. For example, we can philosophically find out that what is the drawback, what is the bad things about being wealthy and having a lot of money. Most of us, we don't believe to have a lot of money is bad. Some do. Those who are rich, they know what other problems that comes with it. But in Baha'u'llah, he says that, I'm paraphrasing, he says in money there's fear and danger. Boy, oh boy, I've seen this in my life so very well, with a little bit of money that I have. Just fear comes with it, danger is in it. You see? But we keep wanting it, not knowing this is a weapon that is going to destroy us. We're going to lose the equilibrium, the balance. So, Baha'u'llah and there are many things that talks about this antivirus. These are extrapolations. Baha'u'llah, in the most important book in the Baha'i Faith, one of the very important books, is called the Book of Certitude. In the very first page, I'm again paraphrasing. I've read this before, the actual text, but you can go tonight at the Baha'i.org, Baha'u'llah, the Book of Certitude, first page. He says there's 4 things in us. How do we become faithful? Which it means healthy, actually. That's what it means. How do we get connected to God, to the truth? Which means become prosper, happy. That's what it means. He says there's 4 channels. One of the channels is what we see. Then it is what we hear. Then it's what we feel. And then what we think and pay attention to. He says these 4 channels have to be cleansed. If you don't clean these things up, you're in trouble. We think, okay, I'm just seeing a movie. But you don't know, every time you see something, it does affect you. It affects your subconscious. In other words, it gets stored in your mind. Why? Because you remember it. If you remember it, then it's in you. And now it has implication in your daily life. Depending on what you think is compatible with what you're going to do tomorrow or not. You saw a movie about this guy who won big money, millions of dollars, he did this and that and that. And then tomorrow morning I have to get up at 8 o'clock, go to work and say, gosh, I don't feel to work much. Luck. You forget. So the program that you saw is not compatible with what you're doing tomorrow. Same thing would be here. Out of what we hear and what we see, we develop feelings. How many times we cry in the movies for characters that they don't know exist. The feeling and the cry and the smile and all of that is real. But the reason for it is unreal. This is the dilemma. We're crying for Superman. We're crying for a Spider-Man. We're crying, those days was better for John Wayne, Or we're laughing at things that's not laughable. It's not real. It's not affecting, it affects us. How much of these feelings we develop? And then based on that, we develop ideas and we imagine, we gotta pay attention to it, and our mind gets completely busy with it. Baha'u'llah says, clean it. So, again, Baha'u'llah says that associations. He says disassociate from the evildoers. If you can't fix him, he's going to fix you. Get out of it, he says. Or you start to hate him. You start getting injured, then you start to hate him. You become afraid of him. Just understand this person and what he does is none of your business, is not your concern. And the things that he's involved, get away from it. If he's a backbiter, if he's a liar, if he's a drinker, if he's a smoker, what then most of the people are. But you have to get out of it. This is the sign. He says everyone seeks his own kind. That's what Baha'u'llah says. هر قرینی قرین خود را جوید. Then if you're interested in Tom Cruise and his movie, probably you are yourself some kind of a Tom Cruise. You don't know how psychotic this individual is. I feel so bad for him. All his life, he has learned and mastered to become actor. And these actions that he has done all his life, they're all downloaded in his brain. He has totally handicapped his mind. And now he thinks marriage and relationship with a woman is as simple as that. Hi, I'm Tom Cruise, I'm the big guy. Don't you love me? And she said, sure. And he thinks it's going to work. Then he knows it's not. Because you have to go learn not acting. You had acted some, okay, now you have money, get out, let others to go in. Now you go some classes, learn how to deal with females. Many of these people, they grow up with dogs and cats and animals. Well, they think their partner is another dog. Fetch me this, fetch me that. And when the partner doesn't respond, they get depressed. So, associations is very important. Disassociate. And if you want to feel good also, go associate with the people that are healthy in mind. So I have explained this in a different way. Baha'u'llah has a tablet called 7 Valleys. It's an Islamic explanation of what Muslims understood. That's not really a Baha'i way. It's an explanation of what was the past. He himself says. So I extrapolated the same 7 process and I explained it from videos number 19, I believe, right up to 100 or something. It starts from the instinctive desires, what you eat, what you sleep. you know, you're sleeping, you're eating, drinking, you're relieving, going to bathroom, and you're having sex. Sex is very important. Because children up until age 15, I don't know, in the West sometimes earlier, they don't understand it. Their life changes with sex. Once you are 12 and 15, the whole world becomes a different world. All of this really, if you trace it, it comes down to the fact that we learn sex. So from being a child, we become adult. Now we don't want toys, we want to go to the moon. All of it is to, most of the case, we're trying to fulfill our desire. So in everything that we want and we desire, from scientific desires, anything, it's all because of these four things that we do. As a result of these four things, we develop moods, good mood or bad mood, depending on if you slept good last night or not, if you had good sex or not, if you're hungry or not, bad mood, good mood. So this gets into the habit. Now we're entering the world of making subconscious. You keep getting pissed off at something because something you don't have in your instinctive desires. Now you've developed bad mood, now it's become a habit. You have a habit of swearing, you're a habit of being angry, or you're a habit of being happy and smiling, it depends. And then this leads to the fourth one, that you develop ethics. You know, you're polite, you're responsive. If the neighbor asks you to do some good things, you know, cut my grass, you do. Naturally, from good ethics or bad ethics, you enter into the actions. Deed. Not action by that, by deed. So, that's the fifth one. Out of the deeds, which are physical, you develop attributes and qualities. You keep working, physical, you make money, it's physical, but you don't spend it all for yourself. You give to poor people, to your brother, to your neighbor, to somebody you think you need. As you give, you develop a sense of generosity. As you do it, you like it, you enjoy being generous. The action of giving, it makes you generous. That's the sixth one. The seventh one, once you have all of this, past the 50%, suddenly something strange happens. Your computer gets subscribed to the internet, which is God. Now you're communicating with a big mind. It's a very strange thing. So, my extrapolations of fixing the problem that we have is basically summarized. I've not talked about it before. Transformations and expansion. So what we have done, it has resulted in depression and bad mood. We're not happy. A manifestation of it is that we're drinking or we're doing some other act, we're gambling. So that means these actions that we have done has brought us to bankruptcy of mind. So some of those elements have to be changed. You don't try to quit smoking because you never decided to become a smoker. You just merged into it. So you have to merge out of it. These are like virus. It gets inside you and then it becomes subconscious. What's subconscious? I've heard so many words of this pseudo psychiatrist, psychologist. God, it's diabolical. Ask them, what's subconscious? Subconscious is being unaware of an act that you do. Well, one day you are aware. As you practice doing it, it turns into subconscious. You're driving a car. First day, always you have to think, okay, this is the pedal. This is how I accelerate. This is how I stop the car. But you keep doing this. In a week or two, you don't think anymore. Automatically, you go on acceleration or a stop. Typing. You keep typing. First, like me, I have to watch all the things. But since I'm the typist, completely they go in another conversation and look at the things, and it seems there's an eye installed on all of their fingers. That's subconscious. Subconscious means an act that is started consciously, and then over time it turns into subconscious. It's like an app. You install an app in your head. When you need, you don't think about it. Automatically you stop, and you do. This has got good things and the bad things. Yeah. It could have a good things, could be bad things. Good thing is that because of the good instinctive desires and good moods, you have created a good habit and you smile. And then all the time. Or you have just an angry face, tired face, because of doing, those instinctive desires is bad. Sex is very important. The guy tells me that I love my wife completely, but I don't know what happened. The marriage has just gone down the toilet. I don't feel it. I said, buddy, you have too much sex with your wife. He said, I beg your pardon? I said, yeah, you do. I said, you're serious? Said, yeah. Sex and love are related. If you love somebody, that is your wife. And if you have 6 times sex a day with her, after a month, you don't have any energy, you don't feel nothing about her. But if you go and you have that once in a week, then always you love her. You never want to do that. Also, you don't want to look at anybody else. Because you love her. Initially. That's what happens. So he says, okay, I told him no sex for 1 week. He says, and Friday, I urged to buy a flower to go home to give it to her. So I loved her so much. I said, now we're talking. It's not about having sex, it's about making love with the one you love. But you turn the love making into sex. Now anybody can serve that. It's your mates. Anything in the road. Doesn't matter. You overdo it too much, then you get tired of women, then you want men. You can go so much that you want to go to animals now. There's no end. So, you want to do something about sex. Let me teach you some of the therapy. In future, the Baha'i divine psychologists and the Baha'i, they come and they solve a lot of problems of people by studying Baha'i Faith deeply. Because Baha'u'llah says, I am divine physicians. He's not joking. So there's a lot of prescription in there. I see a family that the woman was a very nice lady, children too, in Toronto. The husband is one of those Muslims, the big beard and all that. And talk to him a little bit here and there. I saw his eyes is rolling when women, they come in, they pass by, looks at their buns and their body. I thought this is nothing but testosterone. He's not talking about God and this and that to me. So, I knew if these guys and women, I said, by the way, his wife and children, they were suffering because this guy was too prejudiced and he wanted his wife covered and children, just big time problematic. They were suffering because of his way of his acting. But this guy never believed in any of that. This was all installed in his head. Those are the wires. It wasn't religion that he believed in. He was acting upon the virus, phantom virus installed on him and tell him to do this and that. So some blonde, beautiful lady once day when his job comes by and she starts to look at him. Finally, I don't know how long it took, the guy ends up going outside of the marriage and get lured by this lady and had sex outside of the marriage. In 2 months, the religion was washed away. He didn't want to do anything to do with religion anymore. What was it? Was it religion then? It was all testosterone. You couldn't wash it away. That's why in the West they say, don't have sex with the secretary. Because if you do, she won't bring you the coffee. You break the wall. And the other way around too. Example is Ali. He used to have a lot of sex with a lot of people. According to what he says to me. He says, land any girl. Very, very beautiful man, I suppose, according to women. Young. He completely stopped it. Whatever they begged him, he said no. Baha'u'llah said no sex before marriage. I wasn't a Baha'i, I am now, I can't do it. Jesus, what happened? All this energy was leaking from his soul like a rotten, torn off bag. He closed it off. Now he has lots of energy, lots of love, lots of feeling. He turned into teaching Baha'i Faith. That is how he became a star. This boy becomes the Prime Minister of Canada if he wants to. And I think he's the elder of God too. Probably is. We have to see. So, preventing, sometimes, for a Baha'i who knows this, prevention is a matter of fact. But then, for a wrong religion, it seemed that secure. He thinks God, this and that, but actually looking after and looking for a goddess, not God. And she penetrated his mind and he had sex. That's it. He wasn't after God, this guy. He was after a goddess. So, such as this, we can fix, can transform a person from an area to another area. Baha'i Faith is exactly as come for that. He doesn't fight with you with what you do. He just says, okay, doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. You could be a terrorist, that's okay. Drug addict, you could be Al Capone. Doesn't matter to Baha'u'llah. He says, I am not concerned about where you are coming from. I'm concerned to know where you are going to. Okay, past is past. Let's start now. As you start to become a Baha'i, you do those things, 2 things happen. Once you get transferred, secondly you get expanded. 1 drop of cyanide in your tea, it kills you. Isn't it? But 1 drop of cyanide in a pool probably doesn't do much. But if it is in a big lake, phew, nothing. So, because of being a Baha'i and you start to act upon, as I said, today's teaching, there's nothing else but teaching. Forget everything as a Baha'i. Just start to teach. If you can't get humiliated, do every goddamn things you can. Convey the message. And you see the result. It's a turbocharge fixing your body. It's the best one. It's like you have a message from the Queen of England to go to say somebody. Well, when you say that things, automatically you're hired by the Queen. You feel good, Ooh. Imagine you're hired by God to convey the message. You're the employee of God. And this is a word I'm using. But when you do it, you know you are. He'll tell you you are. They tell me, oh, the guy is so rich. I said, yeah, he's under the hip of actual SHIT. You see money, I don't see that. I mean, it's great. It's great to have the gold, but it's not good to be buried under the gold. You're dead then, you know. I have a coffin made out of gold, and I'm dead. It's good if you're alive and you can use it, but then Baha'u'llah says bring danger on coffin. I still buy tickets, lottery tickets, because I need money to do what I want. Baha'u'llah says up to you. If you can get it, get it. I can't give it to you. But if you do, it's up to you. But you know what I do with it if I get it? I shouldn't tell you anyways. But I'm telling you because I know I'm not going to win. He's not going to let me. I would not actually say to a single soul in the world that I did. I hire a lawyer and put a different name on it and put it all in the charity company. I will not get a drop of it. If I do, I'll get sick. I'll get cancer. I die. I become blind. Cannot use it. Can you believe what I say to you? Yes, it's a disease. Yeah. Now this creates this balance. Now I talk about transformation. Let me tell you a bit about balance. Balance. I had a story in Persian poetry, I have to say. The story is about a boy and a girl that they love each other, but they're from different religion. They couldn't live in that area. They get married and escaped into some other city. There he studied, whatever. He became some big guy, had great jobs, fantastic house, 2 kids, children, wife. And there's a telephone call receives that he has to be somewhere quickly. So he gets up in the morning and quickly, before having breakfast with the family, he goes. I've used in my story the propane gas that, fires and energizes this oven. He opens it up. For some reason the pilot was not up or something. He left the house. As he goes halfway in the road, he says, my God, did I shut that down or didn't I? What happens? He got seriously worried. He says, hell with the job. I'm going to have to go. He comes back to his house. It was on a farm. The whole house was burned down, scorched. All ashes. No survivor. He killed his wife and his 2 children. This good man. So he stands in front of the burnery. Now I'm the psychologist, I'm the doctor, I'm seeing the scene. I know he's going to get nervous breakdown in no time, because there's no explanation. You know what I would do as a doctor? I start to beat the hell out of him, really hard, with the whipping that he bleeds on his skin. Because his mind is so engaged in what's happening there that he's become selflessly going into that, and it becomes it, and there's nervous breakdown. So I want to make him selfish. I want to bring him back to respond to the skin, to respond to the pain, to come back. Don't get inside too much. I beat him up because I want to create a balance between this pain and that pain to make him to survive. And then I have to tell him what happened. It's a thing that happens every day. This time you did it, you're cursing yourself. But it could have been done by a lightning. What would you do then? Sue God? Curse the nature? It could have done by an animal, by a snake, by a virus, by a bacteria, by a mosquito biting them. They die. It's not always the man causes something. Nature does. So, God doesn't do it. Absolutely not. This is just the way his nature is. There's poison in it, and then there is medicine in it. It's a minefield. Sometimes you step on a wrong place and you die. It was not intended, but it happened. Life goes on as far as God is concerned. We're continuing. You lost your laptop, but you're there. So, couple of other vitamins, spiritual vitamins are there. When you're down and depressed, event doesn't go. You were forcefully invited to watch this movie, and in the movie you got very much affected, by the Spider-Man or by the Superman, by the Batman. Not by Terry Fox, not by Baha'u'llah, not by Tahira. No, listen. So, in these cases, to prevent the problem, I start to teach Baha'i Faith. I'm telling you, do it and you'll see. And when you're down, you think you lost, open the Baha'i books, read the history of the Baha'i Faith, and see a galaxy of greatest men, businessmen, rich men, princes, poor, rich, how they give their life away. That is the solution. Every time I feel bad, I go read to see what happened to Bob, what happened to Baha'u'llah, what happened to Abdu'l-Baha, how they were scolding and bullying Shoghi Effendi in Oxford. What happened to the Baha'is in Neriz? What happened to the Baha'is in Isfahan? What happened to the Baha'is in Mazandaran? What happened to Baha'is in Zanjan? We're talking 20,000 people. We have record of a few thousands of them. Heroic and fantastic. Every time I read it, it detaches me from this pseudo-reality that we fall into its ditch of depression or even satisfaction. They're both to me the same, actually. I deal with a man who is completely satisfied with this life and a man who is depressed. I see them, they're both in the same situation. This is not so glorious either way. It's a transitional state of man that has to go. It's like children in the train, I remember. There's nothing else to do in the cabin, and they're fighting. It says the handle, of a window or something, is my handle. And he says, no, it's my handle. And the boy says, my handle. And the one says, no, my handle. And adults are smiling. Possession in this life is like this. My own extrapolation for my life, I use everything better than Bill Gates. I have better sex than him. I have seen the world. I've got everything I want, but I don't like to possess it. I'm only using it. I'm a user, not a possessor. Possession means that I have to carry it on my back. Why would I want a big house? Why? Cut the grass and clean the room. What am I, a servant of the house? Why would I want to buy a yacht? Just rent one. My car is a cheap car. I spend money to fix it, change the engine, transmission. It looks totally like SHIT. Like it, that's it. You can't find anything attractive in what I possess. That's it. Well, so much. I talked about myself a little bit tonight. I get busy in the night. I'm worried about what's happening, about this refugee crisis in Germany and in Canada. I'm going to have to give some idea to both parties in soon. So I'm going to conclude these three things about the psyche, because there are other things to talk about. I have to talk to you about, probably I'm going to be speaking about Hinduism. I was in India. I have to talk about China, Germany, and other things. Okay. May Baha'u'llah be with you. Allah.